weak core is a quick path towards back pain, poor athletic performance, and a general lack of strength in real-world situations. A common cause of weak core musculature in otherwise fit individuals is the over-reliance on single-plane motions, largely focusing on only the highly visible rectus abdominis muscles. This translates poorly to truly functional strength because in real-world situations, the core muscles must operate through multiple planes of motion while coordinating a multitude of muscles to accomplish many simultaneous tasks. Because of this, you could have the strongest abs in the world and still have a weak and dysfunctional core. For the core to be truly strong and functional in real-world scenarios, it must meet certain requirements. First and foremost, it must protect the spinal column from injury and the deteriorating effects of chronically poor spinal posture. This requires stabilization strength, without which the chances of injuries such as disc herniations, muscle strains, and vertebral stress fractures greatly increases. Secondly, the core must have good mobility in order to produce a wide range of potential movements in the trunk and spine. This means the muscles of the trunk must be supple enough to allow the breath to fill the lungs without resistance and allow the spine to bend and move in all directions, while still being stable enough to protect the spine in the process. And finally, the core must be able to not only produce its own movement and stability, but it must also be able to integrate with the strength of the entire body. A functionally strong core has well-developed musculature and connective tissue pathways that are used as strength bridges which connect and transmit forces generated by the lower body into the upper body and vice versa. In the world of core training, there are hundreds of excellent potential exercises, and what's best for each individual will be based on their own peculiar condition, posture, and fitness goals. In this way, exercise selection and programming can truly become a biomechanical art form unique to each individual. However, in this video, I'm limiting myself to just 2 kettlebell core exercises that adhere to the principles mentioned before and which I've personally seen have significant benefits for nearly everyone who has performed them properly. Loaded carries of all kinds are amazing exercises for real-world strength adaptations. After all, the most common strength-based task needed in real-world scenarios is the ability to carry something. In the context of core training, carries create excellent adaptations towards spinal stability, often called anti-rotational or anti-movement strength. The simplest of these carries is the common farmer's walk, where a weighted load is placed in either hand and held at the side while walking. The variation chosen for this video, however, is the single arm farmer's carry, often called the suitcase carry. In this case, the weight is imbalanced from one side to the other. This will cause you to want to lean to the other side and distort the spine in order to use your body weight as a counterbalance. However, that would be letting the weight win and dictate the nature of the carry. Instead, the goal of this exercise is to use muscular effort to resist the distortion of the spine and to hold yourself in a neutral and balanced posture. To do this, you need to make sure you're stacking the pelvis and the ribs in a horizontal orientation. No rib flare, no pelvic tilt, and no rounding of the back, while also maintaining horizontal hips and shoulders when viewed from the front. Walking towards a mirror can be very helpful in the beginning as it allows you to accurately gauge the neutrality of your posture. Done properly, this greatly strengthens and stabilizes the core muscles, especially on the opposite side of the kettlebell, as they work to resist the lateral pull of the offset load. The next kettlebell exercise we're going to go over is the kettlebell windmill. This exercise bumps up the complexity quite a bit. Not only will the core need to stabilize the spine and simultaneously produce movement, it will also have to coordinate its movement with that of the hips and the stabilization of the shoulders. The windmill not only increases the strength and functionality of the core, it is also a great mobility builder for the hips, hamstrings, calves, shoulders, and thoracic spine. In fact, it's a remarkable rehabilitative exercise for thoracic extension and rotation, which is a common mobility weakness in those with upper cross syndrome, often leading to upper back pain and shoulder pain when lifting overhead. This is another exercise I recommend people start slowly with, especially in the beginning. For the hips and low back, this is a form of loaded mobility training, which is by far one of the best ways to truly rehabilitate mobility ranges, but unfortunately also leaves the body vulnerable to strains in the very beginning, especially if you try to push through it before the body is truly ready. This is particularly true of the QL muscle in the lower back. For many people, this muscle is weak, tight, and barely used, and it will take time for it to come back online and to become mobile once again. Because of this, I recommend people to start with this as a body weight mobility drill for at least a week or two before adding a lightweight kettlebell. To perform this exercise, stand with the feet a little wider than shoulder width apart, with a kettlebell held overhead in one arm. Turn the feet away from the kettlebell by anywhere from 15 to 45 degrees, depending on what's comfortable to your unique body. You will keep the leg that is directly underneath the kettlebell straight, while allowing a slight bend in the other knee. Your arm will stay straight throughout the entire movement. You will start the movement by hinging at the hips and pushing back into the hip that's underneath the kettlebell as you bend down. While hinging, you will also begin to rotate the spine so that the bottom hand reaches between the legs. Keep the spine straight throughout the movement and follow that same path back up until you are standing tall with arms still fully outstretched over the head. Remember, this is a whole body exercise where the core is training to work together with other muscles to create stability, mobility, and strength. You should be driving the weight up with not just the core, but also with the hip extensors, especially the glutes and hamstrings. If this is difficult due to mobility issues in the hips, you can add a little extra bend in the knees until you gain more mobility. If you have trouble with shoulder mobility, try the low windmill version first with the kettlebell in the bottom hand before eventually moving on to the standard high windmill. And if this all becomes easy for you to perform with skill throughout at least 12 reps, you can always progress into the double windmill, holding a kettlebell in each hand. If you use kettlebells at home or are interested in starting a kettlebell routine, check out my new illustrated home gym poster by clicking the link in the description box below. It has multiple exercises, tips, a kettlebell grip guide, and a kettlebell weight chart for those new to this training modality. Well, that's it for the video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to leave a comment if you have ever utilized these exercises in the past, or if you're doing so now and have any tips or tricks that you would like to share with others. Also, if you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and subscribe, and until next time, keep moving, my friends.